All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another podcast. It is episode number 7, I think, of the podcast, and I'm not here with Tom today. I do just want to say, first of all, happy Easter. But yes, if we do still get the podcast made, we will still do another twin brother episode on Wednesday. I don't know how often we're gonna. I don't know how often we're gonna be doing them, but that's not a great start. By the sounds of things, I do want to give a quick shout out to Logitech, who sent me, actually, for my main channel, not for this one, of course. They sent me the brand new C922 camera. I've had the C920 for ages, like literally 5-6 years, something crazy like that, and they sent me that as well as a new headset over there. I haven't quite figured out how to not work the headset, but I put it on and there's a slight clicking sound that I hear in my ears, and I'm like, no, I'm not about that life. I don't really feel like dealing with that today. But this is cool because it can record, although it's only 720p, and 720p refers to the amount of pixels, the size of the frame. It's 1280 by 720 pixels in terms of size, as opposed to 1920 1080, which is 1080p. It can record that size in 60 frames per second, whereas the previous webcam, I don't know if it definitely couldn't record 60. I think I actually uploaded the podcast as 50 frames per second, but I don't think it recorded in 50 frames per second. I think, now that I think about it, it was just the anti-flicker that was that. But whatever. This can record 60 frames per second, so I can upload it, although it'll be 720p, which is fine. It'll be smooth. The frames will be smooth. I can see myself right here. I still don't know if I've got the colors right, because the default setting of this camera does not look real at all. It doesn't look realistic. It doesn't look like how you see. I don't know. I'm gonna minimize this though, because now I know that it's working. I don't need to keep looking at myself, otherwise it will distract me. But yeah, I just thought I would hop on and record a podcast. It's Easter morning, so I thought, why not try and spread some sort of good news? I'm in a really, really weird place right now, and you may be watching this in a few months or a few weeks' time. But at the moment, obviously, we're very much in lockdown, and that's not to say I haven't been going outside, because I have. We've got quite a large garden, so my dad and my brother and we play cricket most days out there for like an hour, which is fun. And I do go out for walks. I do go out running. I haven't been running in a couple of days. I had a bit of a back trouble this morning, and apparently my throat needs clearing. I'm probably going to cut the podcast. Just give me a second. All right, so I don't know what that was about. Apparently my throat still isn't used to talking for long periods of time. Maybe if I move it really, really close to me, I could speak a little bit quieter. I don't know. Someone did actually comment on one of my previous podcasts saying, what do you use to edit your audio? It sounds really good. And yeah, the thing is with podcasts, because I'm not overly enthusiastic, I can get really, really clean and crisp audio. With my main channel videos, if something crazy happens, like I score a really good goal in Rocket League, or something really lucky and 1 in a million sort of thing happens, then I'll shout or I'll scream or something, and that throws everything off. Whereas with the podcast, as it's at a consistent, not too loud volume, I can kind of have the mic really close to my mouth, so it's it's nice and crisp. I'm not shouting, so the waves aren't peaking, so it doesn't get distorted. And the way I record it, first of all, I record it through Audacity, which is just a free recording software. And then once I've finished recording, this is the Shure SM7B mic, I believe, which I think is about £300 now, maybe, I'm not entirely sure. And then I add a compressor into Audacity, and then when I add it into my editor, Sony Vegas, I add another compressor and an EQ edit, which I just found online a few years ago. So there's that. That's how I do that. It goes through a lot of editing. But yeah, so there is that. But I just thought, you know what, let's just sit down and record a podcast, because not what more is there to do, but quarantine really is kind of, I don't want to say getting to me and, like making me a crazy person or whatever. And I'm definitely in a pretty blessed position as far as my job goes. My job is still the same. That's not to say I'm getting paid the same amount. I'm still getting the same amount of views now as I was before quarantine, but I'm getting paid half the money. In fact, I think a bit less than half now, because advertisers just aren't paying for things. So, I am being affected, and that's not a, oh, woe is me, feel sorry for me situation, because I know many people have lost their jobs, but it's not to say that I'm not suffering, but I'm not experiencing the negatives, because I am. And I think the main thing really is sort of mentally, because I always thought there'd be this kind of novelty with lockdown, And I think it's been less so with me though, because it's not like I've had any time off, because this is my job and I do this all the time. My work routine, or my workload, I should say, maybe not my work routine, that has been a little bit skewed, but my workload has stayed exactly the same. So whereas some people in this lockdown situation, they've had a couple of weeks where they wake up, they have nothing to do all day, and they can do whatever they want, which I'm not saying sounds great in theory, right? But obviously that there's your own struggles with that. I haven't had that. I haven't had a day where I can just think, right, I'm going to do nothing. And I never have those days. And I guess I'm grateful for that. But then again, that seems quite nice at times to think about. But it's just been kind of tough because obviously before this happened, I've seen memes about it, how everyone says, oh, I feel like I really got my life together. And then coronavirus came. And I mean, I know people are saying that, but for me, it's literally true. Like, it's so true how the middle of March, really, in the beginning, middle of March, I was in the best place that I'd ever been, really. You know, I was super fit, probably the fittest I've ever been. I'm not quite there now. I was about, I'm about 7 pounds or so. No, if I think about my lightest, nearly 10 pounds heavier than I was at my fittest, and it's only been a few weeks. And it's not like I haven't been exercising during this quarantine. I've been going for runs, long runs. I just haven't been doing other workouts as much. I haven't been doing my core as much, and I don't like seeing the abs fading away. They're still there, but they're just not popping like they used to. I know that's mainly due to the fat on top of them as opposed to the abs themselves disappearing, because muscle doesn't disappear overnight. But I am weaker, I know that much, and I've kind of taken some time off. Obviously, I was ill a couple of weeks ago, and when I record for a long period of time, this niggly sore throat does sort of come back. So that's another reason why I'm recording this podcast today, is because it's the one day of the week I haven't had to do any work and don't have to do any work for my main channel. It's essentially my one day off, and now I'm here doing this. And that brings me nicely on to another thing, and that is sort of what I want to do for this channel. Obviously, I love sitting down and doing podcasts and stuff like this, but I really want to get back into making proper videos. I really want to sit down, like with this camera, for instance. This one the quality is ridiculous. You can actually go and check out my Instagram, PickAPixelYT. I think the last couple of pictures on Instagram were taken with this bad boy. The last post being 3 pictures from a walk I went on yesterday, and the post before being a screenshot from one of my main channel videos that I recorded where I was sort of posing for a thumbnail. Another thing, I always try and record these podcasts in one continuous effort, and I figured actually what's the point of that? Like obviously with the vlog, like an old style vlog, remember like 10 or so years ago with jump cuts every other word, sometimes people would put jump cuts mid-sentence multiple times and you'd be moving about the screen to catch people's attention. So I always thought with these podcasts, I'm going to give myself minimal efforts, you know, in the editing and just do it in one continual go. But if I talk for sort of 3 or 4 minutes straight and then do one jump cut and then talk for another 3 or 4 minutes straight, that might add literally 5 seconds to the edit time, and it saves my throat a lot. So I might do occasional jump cuts in this podcast. I think that would probably be beneficial to me. But yeah, I was thinking about wanting to make videos in real life vloggy style videos. Like for instance, for ages I wanted to do a sit down talky video about my weight loss journey and stuff like that. I really wanted to do that, but I haven't got around to doing that because I just haven't really thought about the logistics of making it and doing all that. And I really want to make those kind of videos, and even if they're like 3 or 4 minutes long, like I used to do back in the day on Far From Film, maybe I could do that on this channel. It's almost like I have this creative urge and desire that needs to be met, and I'm not meeting it, but I can't hit the jump start button. I'm in such a routine with my main channel. It really is kind of like work. It's strange. Don't get me wrong. I love making the videos. Here's the thing. I say I wouldn't make the videos if I didn't enjoy them. And whilst that is true, because I did that for years, at the same time, this is now my job, YouTube, of course. So it'd be very difficult for me to say I would make the videos to the extent that I do if I wasn't getting paid. That's a thing. If someone were to come up to me, okay, so this is my dilemma, right? If someone were to come up to me and say either one of two things: you're not going to get paid for the videos you make. Are you going to make the videos you're making now? My answer would probably be no. I probably wouldn't make daily Rocket League videos if I wasn't getting paid. maybe I'd make Rocket League videos for those that enjoy them, but as far as just for me, I'd probably make all kinds of different videos. You know, if it didn't matter, if money wasn't an issue, I'd probably make all different kinds of videos. The only reason I guess I kind of do have to keep to my niche is because that's what my channel is based around. Similarly, if someone came up to me and said, right, you're going to be paid this salary every single month, so no matter what videos you make, you will get paid the same amount, would you be making Rocket League videos? And again, my answer would probably be not the way I am now. I wouldn't do daily Rocket League. What I'd probably do, actually, I would either do what I did on the Pick a Pixel channel before it became my job. I would do all kinds of different games, because then I could really vary it. If I was getting paid the same amount, whether that was nothing or a fixed rate, I could do some days Rocket League, maybe some Fortnite, because I do enjoy Fortnite, even though the game gets a lot of flack. And then I could explore other games, because I don't play other games, because I play Rocket League for my job. Maybe, I don't know, like, maybe once a week I'll play Fortnite in my free time. And then all my other free time I'm not gaming, because I game for my job mostly. I mean, first of all, I just want to say that my YouTube career, my YouTube job, I'm not playing games most of the time. I might play Rocket League for half an hour to an hour a day, and then be editing for 3 or 4 hours a day. It's very much not how it sounds. I'm not a streamer. If you're a streamer, you sit and you actually do play games for 8 hours a day, and you just broadcast that. But with me being on the YouTube side of things, it's very much production and then post-production. They're their whole thing. Not so much pre-production. There is a little bit of planning here and there, whether I need to like sort of get different things to record for the video, different stock, different inventory, all that sort of thing. But mostly post-production is where it's at and where I spend most of my time nowadays. But I think, so I wouldn't say I'd want to do daily vlogs. I love watching daily vlogs, don't get me wrong, but I think my life is perhaps too same old. I think that it's like a lot of people say it's like that with weight loss. Real weight loss isn't glamorous. Real weight loss isn't that exciting to watch. You know, that's why shows like The Biggest Loser or whatever, they lose an obscene amount of weight in a couple of weeks in quite an unhealthy fashion, in the sense that they're way below their caloric maintenance and they burn way too many not way too many calories, but an unsustainable amount of calories, particularly because they're in this little bubble. When they go back home, they won't be able to keep up with that amount. And that's kind of how I feel right now, to be honest. I had such a routine of eating quite a bit below my maintenance when I was losing weight, and I had the outlet and the ability to burn so many calories due to the amount of walking I was allowed to do, because we weren't restricted in that sense. I was allowed to go to the gym because they weren't closed. So I'm almost suffering like a similar situation to those on shows like The Biggest Loser, where they're in a bubble. It's just, in my case, my bubble was actually my real life, and now I'm in the real world, which is a quarantine world at the moment, and it's unsustainable. And obviously I hadn't thought about that, I hadn't worried about that, because in my eyes, when I was doing it, I was gonna have access to everything I had access to the whole time. But yeah, so I think daily vlogs, like I say, weight loss, it's not glamorous. It's eating a certain amount under your caloric goal each day. For a lot of people like me that like routine, it's eating the same thing every day at the same time, doing workouts, and that isn't pretty to watch. And my daily life is the same. You know, I'm not a YouTuber that has cars and houses and all these other kind of, I don't do crazy experiments. I don't live in a fancy area. I don't have famous friends or anything like that would be almost worth broadcasting. So I probably wouldn't do that, but I love to be able to do whatever I wanted, but it's just so hard, because part of me thinks I can't, because with my main channel, I have to do what I'm doing on my main channel, because that's my job. And don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic job and I do love it. I don't want that to get skewed. But then it's like anything else I want to do, it really is in a limited amount of time, because essentially there's a full-time job, there's fitness and health and doing all that stuff, but then there's almost less incentive sometimes to make a video, whether it's a podcast or a proper video, because although it would count as my hobby, it's not my job. It's still kind of the same thing as my job. It would be like if you worked, you know, at McDonald's like I used to do, and then your passion was making burgers at home. Sometimes you're just going to not want to do that because you've just done it for 8 hours. So it's kind of like, I love it, but let's just not do it today. So it's a weird one. It's such a weird one. But yeah, I think it's Easter today, obviously, so I will be eating copious amounts of chocolate, and I am getting kind of more used to the idea of incorporating unhealthy-ish things into my diet. I need to, because the last couple of weeks, obviously, I'm not going to pretend that everything's been perfect. I have eaten too much. It's as simple as that. I've eaten too much. It's not that I haven't moved enough. I'm burning a lot of calories. I'm running 6-7 miles per run. When I walk, it's 2 to 3 hours a walk, and that burns more calories than the run, because I'm only running for an hour. I'm doing back garden exercises. It's just purely the fact that I'm eating too much, basically, and that's why I'm kind of falling off the wagon a little bit. So I will get back into that. I think it just really is, now that I've got the sort of fit and healthy body that I want, it's up to me to really work on maintaining it. And I think that is very, very difficult, because put it this way, if you want to gain a lot of weight, for the most part, it's easy to go all in and go extreme and eat thousands and thousands of calories a day and gain weight. Similarly, if you want to lose weight and go extreme and go all in and all in and all in, it's very easy to eat nowhere near enough and lose lots of weight. To maintain in an extreme way, you can't sort of maintain to a greater extent than just maintaining. You're either maintaining or you're not. You can't maintain at a greater rate than you would if you're maintaining, you know what I mean? Whereas if you're losing weight and you're not losing as quickly as you'd like, you can go, right, I'll just eat a little bit less, I'll move a little bit more. If you want to gain weight and you're not gaining as quick as you want, you think, right, I'm just going to eat even more. But you can't maintain better than maintaining, and I think that's why it's so tough, because if you don't get it right, you go one way or the other, and for someone like me who loves food, I go up, and then I kind of have to tinker it a little bit. So I'm going to have to just try and figure it out, because I'm at the stage now where I don't have to cut out bad food, because there is such thing as balance and moderation. I definitely struggle with moderation in anything, whether it's bad food, exercise, whatever it is. I'll get addicted to it and I'll just keep doing it. So it's kind of allowing myself to enjoy my eating, but still I need to think of food as fuel and less as not a luxury. But then again, I think some food is luxury, like pizza. I need to think of that as more of a luxury. I can't think of that as a snack. Not that I have a snack on pizza, but you get what I'm saying. So I think after the Easter weekend, I know you shouldn't sort of do a binge and then, go back to it. But I do know that by the end of the Easter weekend, even if I go absolutely ham, I'll still be around about my original goal weight, which was 12 stone or 168 pounds. I did get down to 11 stone 1 or 155 pounds, but that was after I reached my first goal. I then lowered it by another couple of pounds each time, because as I said, you can go more extreme if you want when you're losing or gaining weight. Maintaining is much, much harder. So I think after Easter, I'm going to slowly get back into it, maybe go for a run tomorrow, and I think I want to focus more on doing exercise. That running is great, running's amazing, and it's great to be within nature, but I want to start rebuilding my body. I need to get back on the core, get back on the arms. My legs have been built a massive amount due to the running on concrete, because normally I run on a treadmill, which kind of cushions the blow. So now from doing that to running on concrete, my legs are like, bam. But yeah, this is the thing. When you go into a podcast with no ideas, you end up rambling. So the takeaways from this: my diet's going to be terrible this weekend because it's Easter. And I suppose the one difference is, one, I know it's coming. So it's not like, I don't feel like I've failed, in the sense where if you plan to have a healthy eating day and then you sort of eat a lot of food, you feel really bad about yourself and you feel guilty. And there is then a tendency to perhaps make up for it the next day, which isn't a great thing to do. Whereas today I'm kind of like, it's going to happen, so let's just enjoy it and not beat ourselves up about it. Because, fortunately for me, similarly to how you don't lose weight overnight, you don't gain weight overnight. I mean, obviously you can, like a pound or whatever, but you don't lose all your progress in a day or a week. A month, you can lose a substantial amount of progress. Like, I could put on 20 pounds in a month if I wanted to, quite easily. But a couple of days isn't going to change anything, and I think it's just been hard, because it's just harder to stick to a diet in quarantine, especially with my family home all the time. Like, when I was doing really, really well, actually, right before the quarantine happened, my parents were actually on holiday in Lanzarote, and my brother was at university, so I was at home alone. So I was in full control. Whereas nowadays, my family are all home, they're all eating, they're all making meals. I think starting tomorrow, I'm actually going to, as much as I love my mum, of course, and I do enjoy it when she makes me food, I think I'm going to do what I've done previously and say, maybe just forget about me. Don't make food for me. Like, I appreciate it, but the only way I can do this really is if I control it, and that's what I'm going to be doing when I'm finally able to move out, which I will get to. But I think I'm going to have to try and take it on myself. Because then I'm in full control, and then it's sort of, it's up to me to do it. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. But yeah, that's kind of a string of things that I've been thinking about during this quarantine, is just making content. I really want to make all kinds of content, because I do watch Rocket League videos, don't get me wrong, and obviously I do enjoy making them, but I also watch a lot of other videos, and I feel like maybe not my creativity, but like my demand is not being met. It's not being fulfilled. I feel like I can do more, but it's almost like I don't know what. And then there is the whole, I do want an audience to watch my videos, and I do want feedback. I do want people to enjoy what I make. And if I had like a week of free time, if I didn't have a job, if I didn't have YouTube, like Rocket League as a job, then I would be able to spend hours on videos that no one was going to watch, and that would be fine. I could make videos for me, but now I don't really have the time to do that. But then again, I do. Everyone has time. I'm someone who always says that. Saying everyone has time. They're just making excuses. And that's definitely me. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But obviously, I did mention just now my moving situation, which I will touch on before I end this podcast today. If you have enjoyed it so far, please do leave a like. Let me know what you thought. And but yeah, so I got the keys on the 14th of March for my new house, and I still have the keys to my house, of course, and I have access to the building. But the lockdown happened about a week after, and I was going to move, and even on the 31st of March, the moving van company was willing to move me. I'd have to walk to my house because I couldn't go in the van with them due to the social distancing rules, but they're still operating as a business. I guess moving is kind of essential, but I ended up cancelling it because there's just no point moving until I get internet in the new house, and Virgin Media said a couple of weeks ago that they were going to contact me within a week, because I spoke to them on the phone. And they were like, right, we'll contact you. And this was after stuff started happening, things started to close down. So I thought, okay, great, they're going to contact me in a week, and then in a couple of weeks, the engineers will be out, which would have been around about now. And if the engineers went and installed internet at the house now, I could then move, and then, in a week or two, be living in that house. Maybe I'd wait till the end of lockdown to actually start living there, but I'd have the option to. Or say I wanted to work from there, I could walk there for my daily exercise, work, and then come back home. And I'm not obviously transferring anything between households, because that's an empty house that no one's been in, and then this is my house. It's just like walking for my exercise and stuff like that. So that would be fine. But I can't do that. I think I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down right now. You guys are going to see it. It's going to be my first port of call for next week. Oh, in fact, I've already written it down. Chase Virgin Media. I'm going to put in brackets call, because in the previous week, one of my things on my to-do list was email Virgin Media, because like me, I'm sure you'd much rather discuss something over email than call. That's not to say I've really ever had a bad call experience, apart from being on hold many, many times for a very long time and getting very sick of the whole music. I haven't really had a bad call experience, and it does get the job done quicker, but you just kind of would rather email, wouldn't you? I don't know. Whereas obviously my dad and his generation, they got a problem, they'll pick up the phone and it's sorted. So it makes sense as to why they do that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to chase up Virgin Media, because I've seen their vans out and about. I've gone for runs and I've seen Virgin Media vans. I'm just thinking, why can't you sort me out, lad? But yeah, that's basically what I need. So I have the house. I showed my family around the other day. We went for our daily exercise and we stopped off at the house and I showed them around, and they really liked it, which was awesome. So I just need to get the engineers out there to install the internet. Then either during the lockdown, maybe even after the lockdown, it doesn't matter when then. If the internet's there, it's there. I can then move all my stuff, like my normal living stuff and this setup stuff, to the house, and then I can start sort of my new life of, I'll be living by myself, but I can be sort of adding to the house. I can make the office room my own, have a really cool setup, because I'm very grateful to be here and have this setup and everything like this. But obviously it is a bit, I don't want to say bootleg, but it is a bit improvised. And obviously my brother sleeps in this bed here now because he's back from university, so we're kind of sort of sharing the room. And I can't wait to get my own space again. And theoretically, once I move to that house, all the gyms will be open again. So I'm thinking of also getting a second gym membership at a different gym that my friends go to, that I've been to a couple times with them as a guest, because the facilities there are great. There's also a swimming pool, there's a sauna, there's tennis courts. It's amazing, and I would love to go there because then I can play more sport. And I cannot wait for all this to sort of be over, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. But if I think about it, I'll be in my own house, I'll be able to go to the gym again, I'll be in full control of my food and my eating, my exercise, my sleeping, my work. I'll be in control of everything. And I think maybe then I'll have the time, I guess, if I really work at it, to either make in real life sort of videos for this channel or something. But obviously one thing I'm going to be doing when I get good internet at that house is start streaming, which is going to be great because it means I can actually play video games for fun, because my videos, they're all, obviously they're specific ideas, and I play very little game time in the grand scheme of things in those videos, whereas if I stream, I can actually play some solid video games, because it is a hobby of mine that I almost don't get to do as much as I would if I wasn't doing YouTube, because I'm doing it for a job, if that makes sense. So that's the plan. In a couple of months, we'll just say that, we'll say a couple of months, June, July, I don't know. At some point this year, it's just annoying because I'm paying rent on this house and I'm not living there. So that's the second house I'm now paying rent on that I'm not living in, which is great. But yeah, that is a bit frustrating, to be fair. But eventually, it'll all be worth it because I'll be living in the house. I'll have my own space, my own stuff. I'll be able to see my, whoever I want. I'll be able to go wherever I want. And it'll all be great. So that's what I'm working towards, and that's me. That's a little ramble. This was an unload situation. All I had written down for this podcast was mention moving situation, which is what I've just done. I didn't even discuss it with you in the beginning. I just kind of, sort of made it up as I went along. There was a question on the previous podcast that says, do you have a routine? If so, what is your routine? See, again, I feel like that would be a perfect, properly well-produced video to make, where I do maybe a morning routine video, because I do think my morning routine is pretty cool and it is pretty different to a lot of people. So I think that'd be cool. Or an evening routine, or a day in the life. I love those kind of videos. I love watching those videos, and there's so many videos that I want to make. But yeah, it was CSZ who asked what I use to edit my audio, so that's the question I answered earlier. And yeah, and then someone else commented on a previous podcast, how do you stop yourself from eating bad snacks? Very hard. Honestly, if you're too restrictive, you'll eventually cave, because they're there to be enjoyed. They are chemically designed to be tasty and to make you want more. I think a lot of people don't, they beat themselves up too much. Like, we're up against something that is designed to make us want more of it. So it is very, very tough. So I think, there's different ways. Some people can go cold turkey. There's the supplement route, where you can kind of take something that's really unhealthy and add like a healthy alternative. Sometimes they taste a bit scuffed, but for instance, Ben & Jerry's versus Halo Top ice cream. Ben & Jerry's has about 4 times the calories of Halo Top. And although Ben & Jerry's is tastier than Halo Top, unless you don't like rich things, then you might prefer a Halo Top. But for the most part, Ben & Jerry's is better. But Halo Top is a substitute that's tasty enough for you to not then go and eat the Ben & Jerry's. So, there's cutting out completely, there's substitutes, and there's also drip feeding. I feel like if you're trying to lose a lot of weight, you probably do want to go cold turkey just for a little bit, and then maybe work on supplementing it, substituting it for different things. But I think if you're where I'm at the stage where I need to, probably just for the good of my health and my calorie intake, look at substitutes and stuff like that. But I think I'm going to wrap up the podcast there. That was a nice sort of ramble, probably just under half an hour, I would say, maybe around about the half an hour mark. So I think that was pretty good. That's all I wanted. My throat doesn't hurt too much because of the little jump cuts I put in. I wanted a separate podcast in and amongst the Twin Brother podcast, and I just thought, why not do it now? It's Easter morning. You'll be seeing this on Easter afternoon, Easter evening. So yeah, that's going to do it from me. As always, leave a like, leave a question down in the comments, leave a comment down in the comments. I read them all, of course. And anything maybe you want to see on this channel, you want me to talk about, let me know down in the comments. But I will see you in the next podcast, which will probably be with Tom next week. And yeah, I will see you very soon.